In this week's episode, Business Greenhouse TV is back. Hi and welcome back to Business Greenhouse TV, episode 39. You know, we had a bit of a break there while we went traveling. For those of you that don't know, in August last year, I upped the family, bought a big caravan and did a big tour of the east coast of Australia, all the way from the Gold Coast to Cairns and Cairns down to Melbourne. And we did about 40 evening workshops around the country, just training Christian entrepreneurs. And what that meant was I didn't have an office, I didn't have a team, I was on the road. So we had to do like a 7-month sabbatical from doing these shows. But we are back with episode 39, which I think is going to be a ripper. So let's get into the show. Cara Dixon asks, the best advice for the startup phase of a service-based business. You know, Cara, it's fairly broad, so you've left me ample room to go where I want with this, so I appreciate that. Service-based business, product-based businesses, you know, my advice for the startup phase is going to be across both of those. And here's what it is. Stop spending money on stuff you don't need and start spending it on customers. You know, it's a bit of a rant that I've done many times, but I have to keep coming back to it because to me, it's just a hardcore philosophy. Do you know how many business people I meet who are in startup phase who, you know, I'm watching them on Facebook and they're going to the movies and then they're going on a cruise and then they're going to do this and then they're skiing. And I sit there and think, whoa. You know, all of that money invested in, you know, going to dinner every night and doing all these sort of things and you know, having the Instagram life so you look like you know what you're doing. All those things are compromising our ability to build a business. I reckon in the first 1 to 4 years of starting a business, every single spare dollar should go towards buying customers. You know, literally, you know, a business is nothing if we don't go out on the marketing offensive and go and get a whole bunch of new customers. So we've got to start to get in our head, you know, startup phase, money is limited, capital is limited. Well, so let's not make it any worse. You know, and I'm not picking on you, I don't really know your scenario, I'm just answering your question according to the startups that I meet every day. But they're all, you know, selfies this and new cars this and, you know, and they've got all the new toys, but they don't have any customers. You know, I remember back when I first started, Kimberly and I, we never went on holiday. We never went out to do fancy stuff. Why? We were building a business. We put all the capital back into building a business. So we had tons of customers and great cash flow. In that first 1 to 4 years, it should be head down, bum up. You know, the amount of people that say to me, you know, business is slow. And then when I audit their day, they drive through the drive-through coffee shop twice a day, get an extra, you know, big coffee with sprinkles and lattes and cream on top. It's like, yeah, but that's $10 a day. You know, people say, how could that possibly change? Well, that's 1,500 Facebook impressions. You know, Facebook is $6 per 1,000 impressions. So every single time you're buying, you know, a coffee, that's 1,000 impressions nearly that you could have on Facebook, testing and measuring what's working, what isn't, starting to storytell, letting people know about you. We've got to show you, you know, you can't have the stuff before the business kicks in. It just doesn't work. It's a recipe for disaster. You've just got to strip everything, live on beans and rice, and do the thing that's going to get you the marketing, that's going to build your client base, that's going to build you a great business. After a period of time, you hit a critical mass, you don't have to do that anymore. Okay, you can literally start to spend, you know, go on holiday, or you can go on holidays now, they just can't be expensive, you know. You can go camping or something, you know, you could create memories without having to spend a lot of money. But you can start to spend a bit more money in a few years' time when things are kicking in and the business is actually providing. So in the short answer, what's my advice? Stop buying stuff and start buying customers. David Campbell asks, I have a company that I'm consulting to. They seem to have changed their moral direction and I'm finding it more difficult to have a relationship with them. What options do I have and what should I do? David Campbell got a great consulting business down there in Canberra. They need as much help as they could get, so good on you, David. So the relationship's turning a little bit sour, a little bit harder. Well, your options are pretty stark. You know, like you can stay and suck it up, or you know you can get rid of them. There's really no ground. Like if you've tried to chat with them and they don't really get it, or maybe there's new management in place and so the old person's gone who you had a great relationship and the new one's in, or whatever. If it were me right now, like too many people, I feel walk away from business or revenue through an ideology of how it should look. Your business has one goal, and that's your proprietary limited, or your entity has one goal, and that's to produce a profit. Okay, you can decide morally who you work with, who you don't, where your money goes, as a believer, those sort of things. But your proprietary limited only has one goal, and that's to make a profit. So I don't think we want to be making a short-term, change in our business, like getting rid of the customer just because of the fact that it's not as rosy as it once was. So here's how I would tackle it. I would have tried many times to get the relationship back to where it was, and if I feel like that's a no-go and it's never going to happen, I would do a transition. I wouldn't decide to stay and I wouldn't decide to go. I would do the middle ground. I would do a transition. I would actually stay with that client, like giving them a great service, charging them, getting their revenue until such time as I had got a better client. And I would get a better client, and then I would say goodbye to the old one, good day to the new one, and then I haven't had a dip in my revenue. So I would be smart, and I would just swim around for a while and just kind of tread water until such a time as I've got a better customer. I'd get a better customer and trade them out. Get rid of the old one, bring on the new one, and keep going that way. Too many people, I feel, make a jump because of whatever, it doesn't feel nice, or they don't value me, or those sort of things. They don't have to do any of those things. They're the customer, okay? Yes, ideally we want a business that we love, and you're building towards that. But in the short term, I would continue the relationship to take the revenue they're giving me as my marketing money to go and get a better customer and then trade them out, would be the way I would go. Solid question, David. Let's go to Word of the Week. Every single week I'm going to be doing 2 business questions. And by the way, if you've got a question you'd like me to answer, a business question, then in the comments below, just put your question in there and I'll answer it on the show in the next week or 2 or something like that. And I'll give you a shout out, and it'd be great to have your question. But each week I'm going to be taking something from the Bible, putting it into a business context, and just teaching it from there so that we can get that sound biblical advice. This week we are going to go to Proverbs 8. Proverbs 8:18, okay? Proverbs 8:18, and it goes like this. Like the title of the scriptures is Wisdom's Call, and it's a fairly big passage, and the whole premise here is to get into our head that the wisdom's call for our life is always there. It's like it's literally yelling at us all of the time to get our attention to start doing things God's way, okay? That's the whole purpose of Proverbs, but even more intensely here. And then it talks about wisdom as a person, which we know it is, and it says, I, wisdom, dwell together. So this is like the context before it. I dwell together with prudence, okay? I possess knowledge, and it says, wisdom, by me kings reign, by me princes govern, those who love me, I love them back. And then it goes on to say this, with me, with wisdom, are riches and honor. Okay, so that's cool. So that's like level 1. With wisdom is riches and honor. And as Christian entrepreneurs, we have a duty to create wealth, to fund the projects, to love the poor, okay, and many other things. But just to give you an idea, like we want those riches, and we want the honor. What's the honor? The honor is the influence that comes with it because we're doing God's work, okay? But the next line is the one that's the absolute kicker. Enduring wealth and prosperity. Enduring wealth and prosperity. So I looked these up because I know that when we talk about wealth and prosperity, some people fly off the handle and go, no, but it's talking about our whole being. Bzz, wrong answer. Not in this one. It's talking about riches and wealth and substance. Okay, it's talking about wealth as we know it in 2017. But it's enduring. Do you know how many family dynasties there are in the world? In fact, they've got a phrase for it. Shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations, meaning that one generation is born with nothing and they make great wealth. The second generation adds to the wealth, and the third generation usually loses it all. Okay? Why? Because they don't have the understanding, they don't have the work ethic, they don't have the appreciation for what their parents and parents put in there. When it comes to the Lord, He says, if you get into my wisdom, not only will you have wealth and honor, enduring wealth and prosperity, meaning that it'll go from generation to generation to generation to generation. It'll be compounding at such a rate that you will have a huge amount of wealth. And this isn't some like blessing. This is do it the Lord's way, and the wealth will compound. Why? This isn't so we all have big jets and big houses and big cars. It's not for that at all. This is so that we have the capital to be able to do the projects and do the outreach so that we can be the love of God on earth. But it's enduring. What do I mean by wisdom? Well, I can't cover the whole Bible in 30 seconds, but off the top of my head, what is it? How do you get enduring? Like, some of the wisdom in this book is little by little is blessed. The amount of people racing out trying to build a massive like war chest of finance within 1, 2, 3 years. It's madness. The Bible tells you better off doing little by little bit. That's what's blessed. There are so many ways about, honoring the Lord with your giving. It's a book full of wisdom. Do it that way and you'll have enduring riches and prosperity. So that's it for this week. Hey, listen, would you do me a favor? If you've got a business question, put it into the comments below and I'll answer that on the weeks to go. But do me a favor. Would you tag a friend below who you know is a Christian entrepreneur? I just want to get this show out to as many people as I can. So would you do me a favor? In the comment below, just start typing one of your friends' names. It'll populate it and it'll let them know, give them a notification that you have tagged them in this show. I'm going to be putting these out every single week so that you can get the podcast, listen to them on YouTube, look at them on Facebook, however you do it. I just want to get these business questions answered and trying to bring you as much value as I can on a weekly basis. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.